So we'll go ahead and get started. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining us tonight for our virtual elective night here at Lincoln. And we're excited to share all of these wonderful elective options with you and tell you a little bit about ourselves and about them. So to start off again, this is the 6 to 6:30 presentation time. And there are 2 more presentation sessions later this evening. Starting off with our language arts electives, students can take 2 or are required to take 2 out of 3 language arts electives during their time at Lincoln, and these are for 7th and 8th grade students. The broadcasting elective is taught by Mike Taglia, who will be presenting with the encore elective presentation. And to tell you about So the Story Goes is Ms. Shapiro.
Hello, everyone. My name is Mara Shapiro, and I'm one of the teachers who instructs So the Story Goes. Miss Levin is the other teacher. So the Story Goes truly is an elective for all sorts of students, whether your student likes to write stories in their free time, is an avid reader, or might not even put reading and writing as the top of their favorite activities list. By the time the trimester ends, all students are really proud of what they have produced, not only by themselves, but with their partners or groups, as the elective allows for collaboration. We've had students write literal stories that are 40 pages long. We've had students tell us that because they have taken So the Story Goes, it makes writing for their other electives so much easier and flows more naturally. We put into practice what students know in their own LA classes, how to be a good writer. We use mentor texts, and then the students have a lot of freedom in what they produce, whether that be a fractured fairy tale or an inanimate object story, or even a choose your own adventure story. Really, the possibilities are limitless, and they really have a lot of freedom. So it really is an excellent elective to develop their writing stamina, as well as their appreciation for reading and writing in general. Really, students are very impressed with what they produce by the end of the trimester, and we hope that we see your students take that class.
Good evening. My name is Justin Jonas, and I teach Speak Up. Ms. Randazzo is another language arts teacher that teaches Speak Up. This class focuses on public speaking, and I know a lot of people on the open house try to pitch their classes to say how wonderful they are, and I would just say this is a class that I think is amazing for students. For those who are especially have some nervousness around public speaking, this enables them to break through that and alleviate any fears that they have through a variety of performances. And by the end of the trimester, generally have a much more comfortable presence in front of their classmates as they go forward. In Speak Up, there's generally 3 major speeches, and we try to focus on the idea, again, of planning their speeches and then rehearsing their speeches, working on delivery, and working on their speaking abilities, working on body control, eye contact, all those sort of things. And then also organizing their speech in a very smooth way that goes from introductions to their main points all the way to a conclusion. Sometimes the speeches involve visual aids, sometimes they're recorded, but often what we look at is a trimester where they have an informative speech, a how-to or demonstrative speech, and then also a persuasive speech. In the informative speech and the persuasive speech, we emphasize research as well, and we talk about what reliable sources are and what you can use to back up your information or your arguments. We also try to mix the trimester with some more informal presentations. Those sometimes are theatrical performances, improv, and also dramatic readings. All in all, it's just a wonderful class to get kids up and speaking and thinking about the process of producing a speech, what it takes to prepare that.
On to our social studies electives.
Hey, so I will speak on It's Debatable. My name is Mrs. Sebo, and I'm one of the teachers who has It's Debatable. It's Debatable, as the name says, it's a debate class. And so much like Speak Up, we are speaking in front of the classes in fun and formal speeches, doing fun and formal speeches, we are researching, we are presenting evidence from reliable sources. We talk about those reliable sources. We talk about what it means to be a respectful audience person and a respectful debater, in the sense of, asking questions and rebutting our opposing sides. And so it's a really fun class. The kids really enjoy it. As mentioned, many of the topics could be fun or just silly even, but then there are, we'll have at least 2 or 3 formal debates where the topics are chosen by the students and they're more controversial. And so we talk about, again, the respect of looking at different sides of information and how to present it without becoming too emotional. So it's a fun class. The kids enjoy it.
Okay. I'll talk about Show Me the Money. My name is Kate Delapasqua, and I'm one of the teachers who teach that. This is a great class. In fact, it's one of my favorite classes to teach. It's all about financial literacy. So we talk about money, the history of money. We talk about the costs of college, budgeting money, saving money, how to be a good shopper. We talk about insurance and what you have to do when you're an adult and how to manage your money and how to write a check. I often we spend a lot of time talking about how to sign your name in cursive even. So, some of those old world skills that kids don't get to practice too much, but it's a really great class for kids. It's a lot of hands-on activities, a lot of exploration. At the end of the trimester, we play the game of life, and they put all of those skills that they learned into application. And just like in the board game, we see how they do. Did they finish up successfully? Were they able to save some money? And did they stay in the black and not have any debt? So it's a great class. I love it. I highly recommend it.
And now we've got our wonderful science electives.
Good evening. My name is Christine Corlett. I am one of the science teachers that teaches marine biology, one of the 2 science electives. Marine biology obviously focuses on the ocean. We study everything from environmental issues to different marine invertebrates to marine vertebrates. We also talk about fish, anything from fish to sharks to narwhals. We take the ocean and we kind of break it up into the 3 ocean zones, the life zones, and try to talk about habitats and ecosystems and how they adapt within each of their places that they live. And we also try to accompany a dissection with each. We do a squid dissection that goes with the deep. We do a perch dissection for the fish, and we also do a sea urchin dissection for the top level of the ocean. So I hope that kind of gives you guys a snapshot of what we do in the marine biology elective.
And if science is really your thing, or even if it's not, if you want a class that has a lot of hands-on things to do, Solve It with Science is definitely something that you should think about joining or enrolling in for the next coming year. So Solve It with Science is really focused on the engineering process. So we give students different types of challenges, and what they try to do is meet that challenge within a series of criteria and constraints. So depending on the topic, for instance, you can see on the slide that robotics is part of it. There are robotics kits that we have, the EV3s, and that kind of ties along with the Legos. And so students not only build a robot, but then they have to use computer programming to meet certain challenges that robot has to do. So in that particular type of challenge, students have a very set sort of programming that we're looking for. And so they're learning both that engineering component as well as that building component to meet that challenge. Now, there's other challenges that we have that are a little bit more open-ended. It allows for students to really be creative in the way that they solve the problems. So again, you can see on the slide, we have things like prosthetic limbs, levitating trains, we do rockets, we have egg drop, and we have mousetrap vehicles. So if any of you were in the Science Olympiad as kids, all my parents out there, you might see some of these that are kind of similar, but we up the challenge a little bit, but students are consistently working through that engineering process, that building the prototype, understanding the criterion constraints, testing that prototype to see if it's meeting those criterion constraints, and then rebuilding. So when you look at the process, students will be journaling through a series of slides, and they'll help us show what they've learned over the course of the challenge, not only tying in the engineering and the science concepts, but also just building as individuals and learning how to persevere through personal challenges, through building challenges. And so students are really coming away by the end of the trimester of getting a lot of information on science, a lot of skills in engineering. And then again, they're also building just character in themselves because they're going to be applying those things, and they know that they're going to hit some challenges here and there just on their own, like ability to meet that challenge. And so that helps them grow as individuals so that they can persevere in other aspects of their life. So if your student is somebody who really likes to do hands-on and be a creative thinker to solve problems, Solve It with Science, again, is definitely something that you might want to keep on your list.
And here we have our math electives.
So going along with some of the themes of Solve It with Science, we have Puzzler's Paradise. Puzzler's Paradise is a class where we have 120 bins like this that have puzzles in them of all sorts. Here's one, and here's another one where you take and you put all these in a bin or in the container. And it's all about manipulating different puzzles. Some of them are numeric, some of them are shapes in order to accomplish the task. So we have creativity, we have problem solving, we have persevering. That's half of the class, 120 puzzles that your students can work through. And then the other half of the class is playing games. We have Othello, Blockus, and some other games that the students play in partners or small groups to again work on that problem solving aspect. It's a fun class. Kids have a really good time with it.
My name's Mark Pansini. I'm a math teacher here at Lincoln. Our other math elective is called Strategy Games. And in this class, kids work on online games to help improve their problem solving skills, logic, various math skills, and perseverance. These online games teach students both problem solving skills and logic through games where students need to complete multiple levels to get through the game. Each level might teach a new skill or a concept that they use to get through the next level. Strategy games, I think, also teaches kids how to persevere through a game. They can't just give up and then go on to the next level. They really got to figure things out. They really have to logically think through a certain level to pass it and go on to the next level. And some of the strategy games that we play are include Block Soars, Meeblings, Boombot, Parking Lot Panic, just to name a few. The kids really enjoy this class. I think they think it's really fun and engaging. Thank you.
So those are our core electives. If you folks have any questions related to the core electives program or any of the classes that you've heard about, feel free to enter those into the question and answer section. And if you want more information about the classes you learned about today, you can go ahead and visit the Lincoln Middle School website and search for Curriculum Night. And there are videos about each elective class created by the teachers here. Thank you very much for joining us this evening. If you don't have questions, the next session will start at 6:30, and you can either attend the core elective presentation, the PE and health presentation, or the world language presentation. Have a great evening.
One of the questions says, can you do both electives in different grades? I'm assuming meaning taking the elective more than once by that question. And no, you would take that elective only one time. So if you took marine biology in 7th grade, you would not take marine biology again in 8th grade.
But I think if you mean, can you take both math electives? Yes, you could take both Puzzler's Paradise and Strategy Games.
And it could be within the same year, or it could be like you take one 7th grade and then you take another one 8th grade. It just depends on what you are really interested in.
Right.
If I could add with the language arts electives in general, and again, there are exceptions. In general, you take 2 of the 3 electives. They're required electives, so you take 2 out of the 3. We didn't talk about broadcasting because that's technically under the technology presentation tonight, but it's a language arts elective as well. But if you take one of those classes in 7th grade, broadcasting, speak up, or so the story goes, generally you will take the other one in 8th grade. Most of the time, that's what happens with the language arts electives.
We've got another question here. How many elective slots do 7th graders get to choose?
In most cases, you'll have 3. The PE is always going to be taking up one of the 4 slots. There are other types of interventions and other types of classes that may become mandatory at times throughout the course of the 2 years in 7th and 8th grades. But in many of the trimesters, you would have 3 possible electives to choose. So again, with 3 electives in 7th, 3 electives in 8th, you could be if a math teacher would help me out with the math here, you could have up to 18 electives if I'm
Right.
not, if I'm correct.
Nine per year.
Mhm. Thank you.
Welcome.
If a student takes a foreign language, that does take up one of their elective slots.
Correct.
And so does health,
Yeah.
health as well.
So it does depend on your child's particular schedule as to how many electives they would have, like, electives they would have in a given year if they have foreign language or something else. But it is really important when your student does get the elective form that they rank all of their electives, and there's a lot of them, in order from top to their least favorite, because they really do get a good opportunity to take a wide variety of electives, but the exact number does depend on your particular student schedule. Are there any other questions or any that we missed we think we got all of them that were typed in, or if any you want to retype in if we missed something or if something's come to mind?
We've got a couple more minutes if you'd like to ask any last questions. All right. In that case, have a wonderful rest of your evening, and I hope you enjoy the rest of elective night. Thank you for joining us here today.
Thank you.